Get in jail at that time.
He realized he was not going to be a firefighter. But he couldn't believe I was so skinny.
No, when I was Gary worked with your dad, Manny G was living. He is a senior. I saw
Good afternoon or good evening. I'd like to call the Prince Edward County March Board of Supervisors meeting to order. At this time, we're going to ask Mr. Lou Gillum to give us an invocation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day and every day you give us. We pray that you'll guide us in this meeting and help us to do the best we can for the citizens of this county, look after the county and your will. Please guide and keep us every day of our life. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. At this point, I will ask if any member of the board have a conflict of interest. If so, you may speak now. Seeing none, we will continue with our meeting. And at this time, we're going to have recognitions.
Opportunity for the Board of Supervisors to recognize achievements in our community with a focus on the accomplishments of students, employees, and our citizen volunteers who serve the county of Prince Edward. The board would like to recognize our March 2024 Employee of the Month, Trey Powell. Trey works hard 24/7, 365 for the greater good of Prince Edward County. His tireless efforts in EMS and firefighting on a daily basis ensures the safety of citizens. Performing and leading of search and rescue operations that has led to saving the lives of both humans and pets. He is a team player and is on call, willing to help follow employees with their departmental needs. He has brought innovations in his field through the use of modern safety apparatus, drone technology, and best management practices. He is always smiling, even in the face of adversity, and never complains about the long hours that are often required in ensuring public safety. Prince Edward County employees are blessed to have such an inspired, driven, and dedicated employee on their team.
Who's over showing?
Thanks, Troy.
Thanks, Trey. And if I may at this time, I'd like to say how blessed Prince Edward County is to have Trey Powell working for us. And when I think about him with his drone and researching his water rescue, it is amazing. And he never, ever complains. He performs his job to the max. So thank you, Trey. At this time, we will have public participation. Citizens wishing to address the board are asked to please sign the public participation register prior to the beginning of the meeting. And we do have some people online as well. Public participation is 20 minutes. I have at this time signed up I have 9 people signed up here. Do you know how many we have online? 1. So we have a total of 10. So each person will have approximately 2 minutes. So the first person is Katie Little, and she will be calling in. She is no longer a resident of Virginia. Ms. Little, you have the floor.
If you can, take it off speakerphone and talk directly, it'll be a little bit louder, okay? Not too much. If you can, talk as loud as you can, okay?
I can't hear.
I didn't hear you do that.
You can go on to the next one, Madam Chair.
Okay, next is Ms. Sarah Gandam.
Madam Chair, some people just arrived, so I can see if she's here.
Okay,
What was the name?
Sarah Gannon.
Sarah Gandam. In the meantime, we're going to move on to Mr. Torrance Sidnor.
Do you want to tell me the next name?
Torrance Sidnor. Good afternoon, Ms. Gandam. You have 2 minutes to make your statement, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Visitors. I'm Sarah Gundam, a daughter of immigrants and a future policy advocate. I am a social work student attending Longwood University in my senior year and the president of the university's Asian Student Involvement Association. I'm speaking up as a student residing in the town of Farmville, sorry, and on behalf of the Free the Mall Coalition and the Legal Aid Justice Center. I'm here today to advise you to consider the highly problematic nature of the ICA Farmville Detention Center, as well as urge you all to use your position of power to not allow Prince Edward County to enter a contract with ICE, to shut down the facility, and to demand the release of the detained immigrants. From the mumps outbreak in 2019 to the COVID-19 outbreak in 2020, the facility has continued to demonstrate their inability to take care of the health of the detained individuals seriously. And when the people detained at this facility expressed their concerns with the conditions of the facility and its effect on their health, they were met with rubber bullets, pepper spray, and solitary confinement, proving the facility is uncaring of the safety of these individuals. To enter this contract and to allow this facility to continue operating is doing a disservice to the community you have been elected to serve. It also leaves you and our county at risk of lawsuits due to its unsafe conditions. It is disingenuous to plan on pulling out the town of the Farmville contract with ICE, yet simultaneously devising a contract between Prince Edward County and ICE. In this, you show that you value the image and revenue over the dignity, worth, and safety and health of the individuals who have been detained in the center, as well as their families. It is clear that this county highly values the presence of Longwood University and Hampton City College. You have consistently characterized Farmville as a warm college town full of rich history, and as of recently been more transparent about the history of racism towards the Black community. As we reflect on the
Thank you,
past,
ma'am. Your time is up.
I thought we were given 5 minutes.
2 minutes, ma'am.
2 minutes?
We have 10 speakers.
All right.
Mr. Torrance Sidnor.
My apologies. Hello to all the residents and the board of Prince Edward. My name is Torrance Sidnor, a student that resides at Longwood University. I personally do not have any family members or friends that are or have been in the detention center. However, as a Virginian and a concerned citizen whose home is less than 2 hours from this facility, I do not want this county or state as a whole to be associated with a system that has been numerously accused of treating human beings as less than. As many have said before me, the Farmville Detention Center has been in the spotlight for its mismanagement, unhealthy living conditions, unprofessionalism, and disrespect from the staff. These unfortunate circumstances led to the suffering of numerous detainees, including Hanif, a Pakistani citizen that was brutalized and tortured to the point of unconsciousness by officers. He is not the only person that was dealt such injustice. I had the privilege to participate in the protest within Longwood's campus, where I heard the story of a male undocumented immigrant, where he retold his experience of consuming expired food, some of which had insects and maggots that need to be picked out to even eat his quote-unquote meal. Due to his experience at this destitute center, he developed PTSD and night terrors as a result. These two accounts are only a smidge of the horror stories that occurred under the Immigrant Center of America, or ICA, supervision, where a hunger strike in response to the 2019 mumps outbreak is considered a scratch on the surface in this rural community. Without immigrants, America cannot be what it is today. That is why everyone is here to call for a shutting down of the detention center and do not officially enter another contract for ICE.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll have Mr. Miles Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. I am Miles Johnson, a student at Longwood University and Black Student Association president. I am here to strongly support Prince Edward County discontinuing its contract with ICE and shut down the Farmville Detention Center before it reopens. As an advocate for human rights, the continuation of this facility is a pressing concern to me. This facility holds a history of human rights violations, such as sexual assault and failing to meet basic human needs for its detained. These human rights violations will continue to persist if this institution continues to operate in the future. The unfortunate effect of this facility is that it profits off the sufferings of human beings. This institution and institutions like it serve as another tool of oppression to dehumanize and minimize minority communities. I ask all of you, are you able to stand by and allow this to happen? We must come together to end this contract as it proves to have a negative impact on the lives of many. We must also set an example for the future of our nation as we all are making history every single day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Gabriella Bastillo.
Good evening.
Good
My name
evening.
is Gabriela Bustillo. I am a senior at Longwood University, majoring in kinesiology with a concentration in applied health sciences. I am the president of the Hispanic Latino Association and am involved in various other extracurricular activities on campus rooted in furthering social justice. I come to you not only as an involved student, but as a daughter of immigrant parents who crossed the border in hopes of working for a better life than the one they had in their home country. It is my understanding that the board is looking to enter a contract with ICE to keep ICA Farmville open. However, I am here to urge you to not do it. There have been countless people that have come out with testimonies about how their life in the detention center was a living hell. Countless testimonies of medical negligence, improper living conditions, verbal and physical abuse by ICE officers and detention center staff, and food that is expired and inedible. I have personally heard testimonies of people who have either been deported or have been released who have been suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder due to the inhumane conditions they faced while at the detention center. Conditions in which they lived for months, even years, is unjustifiable. How can we as humans allow this to continue to happen? For too long, our immigration system has been marred by injustice, cruelty, and a lack of humanity. Let us say no more to this undignifying system. Enough is enough. I urge you, board members, to look into different alternatives of bringing income into this county. Invest into different facilities that will make people feel safer, not facilities that have a history of violating human rights. I have a moral obligation to speak up for what is right, and I hope that you will make the right and just decision of not entering a contract with ICE. Let us work together and take a stand for what is right and reflect on the values of fairness, compassion, and respect for human dignity. Thank you, and free them all.
Thank you. Ms. Jacqueline Kim.
Madam Chair, we could not find her.
Okay. And please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Jesse Franz Blow.
We believe that they're on the fence.
Okay.
Hi, this is Jesse Franco with the National Immigration Justice Center. I would first like to defer time back to the students and people who are there on your county to reject this agreement and to ensure that you don't enter into this agreement with ICE and with the company, Immigration Centers of America. Just to note, National Immigration Justice Center, my organization, on behalf of the colleagues and thousands of individuals that NIJC serves every year, we just wanted to strong solidarity with people experience ICE detention and the Virginia community come on your county reject this proposal and ensure that you don't enter into this agreement with ICE. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Ms. Tasia Courts.
Madam Chair, we were not able to locate her.
Thank you. Mr. Ian Danielson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, good evening, and thank you for having me. My primary purpose is to join my team of students and my partner from DSS, Kevin Meadows, to talk about April Child Abuse Prevention Month and the service activities. But first, during public comment, I wanted to share with you, apprise with you a little bit about House Bill 1427, which stemmed from a close call that happened in Farmville in December 2022. In short, HB 1427, which is on its way to the governor's office, having passed both the House and the Senate, gives judges wider discretion in fixing suspended sentence time for misdemeanor sexual offenders. In 2020, there was criminal justice reform in the General Assembly that limited all misdemeanors to just 12 short months of probation. Clearly, not all misdemeanors are the same. And many sexual offenders who have misdemeanors have had felonies that have had to be pled down to misdemeanors. In short, my time is short. My son had a close call at the top of the hill on 2nd Street where somebody solicited him while he was riding his bike home, offering to put his bike in his van. My son assertively declined, and the man thankfully moved on. I was able to get that person's license plate and report it to Farmville PD and to the Commonwealth's attorney. They determined they could not hold him to account because that 12 months of probation had passed. So the bill, which is on its way to the governor, allows judges to fix longer hang over your head time, so to speak, so that if the same situation happened again, that actor outer could be called to account and perhaps show caused, perhaps given that 12 months suspended time. So it's a bill that doesn't do everything, but it's a bill that does something. And appreciate your support and your listening. I see that I'm out of time, but I just wanted to know that we turned something unfortunate into something positive.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to say to all persons who spoke that we appreciate your comments. We appreciate you. At this time, asking Board of Supervisors, is there anyone else in the audience who did not sign up who would like to speak?
We have a couple of people down in the overflow who did not sign up but would like to speak. If I can go grab them.
Okay, we'll take 2 because there were 2 people who did not show up, but 2 is the max. Please state your name, and you have 2 minutes.
Okay. My name is Sanera, and I will be speaking on behalf of Jocelyn Watson, a Longwood student. She says, "Good evening, everyone. My name is Jocelyn Watson, and I am a Longwood student and have been an Prince Edward County resident for a little bit over 20 years. This county has an unfortunate history of suppressing minoritized communities. And this contract is yet another representation of prejudices, discrimination, and maltreatment non-white people face. Why am I saying this? To demand justice on behalf of detainees who have endured and are currently enduring inhumane treatment and conditions in the Farmville Detention Center. Along with my fellow peers, I demand that the county and the town end the contract with ICE and shut down the Farmville Detention Center. While we understand that with these decisions come consequences, those consequences should not include malnutrition, merciless beating, and refusal of medical treatment and medicine. Being
convicted of anything does not give anyone the right or permission to administer any harm of any kind to anyone. This is not just about standing against mistreatment, but it's also for a reformation. You may say to yourselves, these people are who deserve, these are people that deserve to be locked up. They don't belong here, and whatever happens to them comes with the territory. But none of you would want this to happen to your children or relatives, to have to endure these hardships that these detainees have been forced to face. I believe that the same grace that you extend to your family members and members of the community should be extended to the detainees. Prisons and detention centers, whether you are willing to admit it or not, ignore our...
That's your time, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Amber Qureshi.
Good evening, board members. My name is Amber Qureshi. I'm an attorney with the National Immigration Project. I am here today to urge you not to sign a contract with ICE to keep the Farmville Detention Center open. I have represented several clients who have been detained at this detention center, and I cannot begin to tell you the brutality, abuse, and neglect that those people have faced at this really abusive detention center. I am currently working on a case, litigating a case against ICE, where people who have won their immigration cases are detained for months at Farmville after they win their case. Imagine having to go through the immigration system for months and years detained, finally winning, and ICE still locking you up for months because they are trying to find a third country that you will never be removed to. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that this detention center is going to be a scourge on this county's reputation if you do proceed with this contract. You will inevitably have to sign a subcontract with a private prison company, and all those companies care about are profit, not people. Again, I urge you to reconsider this decision. Don't sign this contract with ICE and let the Farmville Detention Center shut down. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, we'll move on to Board of Supervisors' comments. Mr. Emmert?
Just I'd like to say to the public here that we're thankful that you all are here. Thank you for each and every one of you that's here for whatever reason. It's this time for you to give your I guess your feedback to what you think or what you think would like for us to see, and we appreciate you being here. Gary?
Mr. Townsend?
Thank you for being here tonight.
Mr. Jones?
I echo Supervisor Emmert's comments. We're thankful for citizens coming out and voicing their concerns, holding your elected representatives accountable, and ensuring that we're making decisions with the community's best interest at heart. So thank you for your involvement. We appreciate it.
Mr. Jenkins?
Thank y'all for coming and explaining your problems and issues and all, and you've been well received. Thank you.
Mr. Watson?
I also want to thank everyone for attending and congratulate Trey. Doing a great job. Obviously, public participation sheds light on issues that we sometimes are unaware of, and we appreciate your effort.
Dr. Pride?
Good evening, everyone. We thank you for coming out to be a part of this government. And Trey, congratulations to you. Job well done.
Mr. Gillum?
Also glad to see everyone. Thank you for your comments. Glad to hear all views. And also Trey, well deserved. Pat on the back. You do a wonderful job. And I personally want to thank you for all the help you've done with our fire department also. Thank you.
And I too would like to say thank you for your participation and for your concerns in our community. Thank you. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Mr. Gillum?
Yes, I.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins? Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
And I, Patty Cooper Jones. Thank you. Okay, we'll call on Ms. Chelsea White for business partner updates.
Guy's here. Thank you. Yep. There he is.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to take the time to introduce Mr. Guy Kellner, Managing Partner of Pear Ceramics. Mr. Kellner has proven himself to be a dynamic and cooperative member of the business community. He recently became the owner of Pear Ceramics and bought the building in 2021. The successful custom tile manufacturing company was established in 1982 and has pioneered the reclamation of both antique stone and terracotta. The manufacturing facility comprises over 90,000 square feet and is in the Prince Edward Business Park. Here in Farmville, luxury flooring material from all around the world is processed and sold to architects, builders, and designers for luxury homes. There are 8 showrooms in major cities located across the United States. Now I'd like to welcome Mr. Kellner to the podium to speak to you tonight.
That's not like you, Guy.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Nice to see you. Good evening to you as well, and well done for the students that come forward and speak up their mind, regardless of what side of the aisle you are. I'm not really sure. First of all, thank you. I think you sell our company better than our salespeople do. So, but I'm not really sure what would you like me to address here tonight.
You've added employees. We've helped you finance equipment. You've expanded and grown. Just talk a little bit about the work experience you've had here in Prince Edward, I think.
Well, I'm a young fellow, as you can see. Years have gone by. I've been in business for 40 years. I've worked in New York at the Waldorf Astoria. I've worked in London, United Kingdom. And I've experienced different cultures. I've experienced different places of business. And I will tell you that in the last 3 years, I've personally been absolutely overwhelmed by Farmville as a town, Virginia as a state, and Prince Edward as a county. I think, first of all, I was driving tonight from North Carolina. I came to pick up my son from the airport. And as you drive in here, even in the late winter when there is no green on the trees, this is a beautiful, beautiful state. This is a place of easy to do business. It is exquisite to me how supportive the county is. I get some music
to go with it.
backup. This is great. Can I have John Travolta? I don't sing. You don't want me singing. I'm singing praise, but I'm not singing. So it has been a pleasure to operate here. I would actually like to make one point, is that we hire individuals which have come out of the prison system in Virginia. I wouldn't go as far as say as we seek them, but we hire individuals after 15 to 20 years. This is good. Of 20 years of serving behind bars. And when I travel the country, as you've said, we have a bunch of showrooms, and people ask me, what is it that's so significant about Farmville? I actually point out that we hire people that have come out of the system, and we try to help them to rehabilitate and get back into working life, and try to stay away from the streets, from crime, and into life. And there's one particular individual, his name is Shapiro. And we hired him about 2.5 years ago. For the first year, he couldn't travel. because he had to stay here under his parole officer. He met a woman about 15 minutes from Richmond and started dating her and moved. When the year was up, he moved up to where she lived. And about 6 months ago, he said to Shapiro, so I'm assuming that our time with you has now come to an end because your personal life is closed to Richmond. It takes 45 minutes to travel and come back. And, you know, we pay an hourly rate. I feel we pay fairly, but we're not what you can make in Richmond. And I'm certain at some point you'll move back. You'll move forward to Richmond. And he says, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here because the way you treat us and the way the county and this area has welcomed me, yeah, I can get a job there for a couple more bucks an hour, but I can't get the home that I have here. I feel exactly the same about Farmville. So I don't live here. I live in Florida, but half of my life is here. I don't have my wife. I have a nice life here. She doesn't tell me what to do when I'm here. And I'm just delighted. So thank you for letting me speak for those couple minutes. I think whatever it is you're doing, I know some people feel you should do some things or others, but as a place to run a business, to own a business, and to do business, and to enjoy my every other week here, what a fabulous town you have. So thank you. And thank you, class.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Chelsea, do you have someone else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thank you kindly. Okay, community partners update.
We've got Soil and Water Conservation District coming up first.
Okay.
Ms. Deanna Farrer.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Supervisors, Mr. Stanley, and staff. Thank you for inviting the Piedmont Soil and Water District to come tonight and tell you a little bit about what we do and our accomplishments for this year. My name is Deanna Fair. I'm the district manager. And with me tonight are two of our newly elected directors. We have Horace Adams and Dr. Jimmy Gates, both from Rice. And I'm going to ask them to say a few words about about themselves and their time on the board.
I think most of you probably know me, and when I went into retirement, I wondered what I was going to do with my life. And I guess I was born to be on this Soil and Water Conservation Board because I have used their services, and from the first meeting I went to, I have been impressed with the efficiency, the business-like attitude, and the desire of the staff there to help people in our community. I have really enjoyed it and look forward to more service. I might say that, since I'm speaking, last week I went with a group of dam inspectors to look at 4 dams here in the county. I had no idea we had that kind of water impoundment. And I was really impressed with the way the inspectors approached their work.
I'd like to say, excuse me. I'd like to say good evening to everyone. My name is Horace Adams, and I'm a new elected director for the Piedmont Soil and Water Conservation District. I live in Rice, Virginia. I have a small farm, and I have over 30 years of service in conservation. And I thank you for letting me come tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to just talk a few minutes about some of our programs. Just a few facts about the district. We also serve 1 million Nottoway counties. We are a public body. We help the citizens of the county with education, financial, and technical services to promote the wise use of soil health and water quality. We have a meeting on the 4th Tuesday of every month at 11 o'clock at the Prince Edward Ag Building, and we appreciate Mr. Stanley coming when he can to our meetings, and he gives us some good updates about what the county's up to. All of our programs are voluntary. We are not a regulatory agency. The largest program that we administer is our agricultural cost share program, which helps farmers put practices on their farm to improve water quality and soil health. The past several years, we have seen an unprecedented amount of funding from the General Assembly. We're looking at a budget of $1 to $2 million of cost share funding. Last year, we put down $282,000 of practices for Prince Edward County farmers, and that may not seem a lot, but for many years, that was even more than what our annual budget was to serve 3 counties. So we get a lot of bang for our buck with that money. For that $282,000 this past year, we paid for fencing out 9 miles of stream, fencing the livestock out of the streams, 20 acres of buffer planted, and 1,500 acres of cover crop planted. We also have had those programs have been successful because we've had some stream segments delisted from the EPA's impaired waters list, and that's the ultimate goal. Some of those practices are fencing livestock out of the streams and water bodies, planting cover crops, nutrient management. Those are the types of practices. So Mr. Gates mentioned our flood control structures. We have 14 of those flood control structures, in Prince Edward County that we have to maintain and meet for the dam safety regulations. These structures were built in the 1950s through the 1990s to help with flood control. We have a perpetual easement on those structures, which means we're responsible for keeping them maintained, and we take public safety as our #1 concern. We appreciate Prince Edward County as being a co-sponsor of those structures and for their financial support, but also for the support of the staff. Your emergency service staff is excellent. Sarah Puckett we always in contact when there's a major storm event, seeing if we need anything and kind of monitoring everything going on out there. And this past January, when we had a storm event, the next day, Trey was able to take me out to a couple of those dams, and he flew the drone over, and that's some excellent technology that the county has, and we certainly appreciate you allowing us to tag along and use that. It's a safe way to monitor those dams in a storm event. This past year, we also had contractors that dove down into the water at the risers and checked the gates and the outlet pipe through the dam. That probably has never been done. And we did find some deficiencies that we're going to correct. Things like the gate valves weren't able to open, so we're going to get that corrected. We have a lot of beaver debris around the risers that could impact water flow, and you don't want to do that. We also have installed remote monitoring systems at 13 of our dams, and this is real-time data that checks water level, and we can monitor that during a storm event, and we can set alarms so that it can, notify us, hey, it's running into the emergency spillway, or, we need to start talking about evacuation or things like that. So we will be working with Prince Edward County Emergency Services folks to get them online with that system so that they can monitor it. And we're also updating our paper emergency action plans. We have 2 other programs I'll mention really quick. There are cost share programs for homeowners. We have a septic grant to help citizens in Prince Edward County for septic repairs and pump outs. That's available in certain watersheds. And over the past 7 years, we have helped citizens to the tune of $285,000. We have had over 100 pump outs and over 60 some repairs. And when I say cost share, that's what it truly is. The participant, whether it's a farmer or homeowner, they pay a part of the cost of implementing that practice. We also have a residential homeowner program. So to help control water runoff in your property, things like rain gardens, rainwater harvesting, landscaping, that's fairly a new program for us. We have a great education program. We're doing a lot of stuff in the schools. We have a great education specialist on our staff, and we do have a great staff. Thank you, Prince Edward County, for supporting us through many, many years. We have asked for level funding for at least 10 years, and this budget cycle, we asked for the same amount of funding. I won't be at the budget presentation next year, so this is kind of my budget spiel too. That funding is $11,840. $5,000 of that goes towards our maintenance of our dams, and the remainder goes to support our other programs for education and outreach. But it's a good investment for those dollars that we receive. We give back to the county. This past year, $42 for every dollar that we received went back in cost share payments to the participants, supplies, and other program expenses. So we appreciate your support, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Mr. Jake Morgan from Prince Edward County Extension Office.
I got you.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to come speak with you this evening. My name is Jake Morgan. I'm from Virginia Cooperative Extension. I'm the unit coordinator there. We are an extension of Virginia Tech University and Virginia State University. We bring the knowledge of those universities to Prince Edward County. We currently have a 4-H extension agent, myself. Our agriculture and natural resources agent position is vacant. I wanted to say thank you to Mr. Stanley and some others for reaching out to my district director and others about the importance of adding that agriculture and natural resources agent. Your efforts are working, and I have heard from several above me that they are making it a priority. So thank you for your efforts. That position is valued in this area, and we look forward to filling that. I'd like to start by saying thanks to Deanna too. I've had the pleasure of working with her office, and I know the extension office in general enjoys that partnership. So we have the privilege of working in the same building, so we appreciate that. So they're doing a good job over there. I want to start by outlining some of the program highlights. First of all, with our teen program. Our Prince Edward 4-H teens have done an amazing job. They've risen above all expectations, and 3 of our teams from Prince Edward County have been voted by their peers to be ambassadors for Virginia 4-H. Each district, we have 5 districts, each district gets 4, and 3 of those have been Prince Edward teens for the last couple years. So I'm extremely proud of them, and they continue to impress me. And before I forget, thank you to the individuals I spoke earlier. I hope some of my teens grow up to be as civically active as you guys, so I appreciated hearing from you. That was great. In one of the pictures, you can see where they had the opportunity to meet the First Lady and Governor on several occasions. We've made a few trips to the Capitol and had the opportunity to meet him at the State Fair and spoke with the First Lady at the Capitol. And they have been great representatives of our county each time. Our teens also participate in several teen leadership events held statewide and locally. Tech Changemakers, we strive to help seniors in the area. They help me quite a bit too sometimes with technology questions and concerns, so they do a great job at that. We will be volunteering at FACES, and they actually help me run some of the programs for the younger kids as well. Moving on to our probably most popular event is a 4-H summer camp, junior 4-H camp. It's an overnight camp held at Holiday Lake 4-H Center. This year it's June 24th to 28th. I camp with Buckingham and Charlotte counties. We usually take around 200 to a little over 200 youth aged 8 to sometimes 18 or 19 years old. And it's a fantastic event, and it's life-changing for some kids. And for me personally, it's one of my highlights of the year. It's a lot of work, extremely exhausting, but the impact that I get to see the teens have on the younger youth, and how the youth look up to those responsible teens and how they're being a good role model is extremely impactful. I would much rather have the guitar music in the background. I'm a little jealous.
Sorry about that.
That was great. Kind of breaks the thing. And some of the things that the summer camp offers is away from their screens. I mean, I feel like that's one of the more valuable things. They're allowed to have their devices sometimes, take pictures and whatnot, but there's no signal up there. They don't have access to Wi-Fi. So it's impressive what they can get accomplished and what they can do and what they enjoy. We offer canoeing, kayaking, archery, riflery, fishing, outdoor living skills, high ropes, zip lining and such, swimming, STEM programming, and it's an incredible time that they get to go out there and be underneath and very good supervision and enjoy those things outside. Also, this will be our second year of having the 4 for 4-H fun run at High Bridge Trail. It's a fundraising event to help state 4-H and local 4-H. And hopefully that will be on April 27th. Some local clubs that we have as our shooting sports education program. Just a week or two ago, we received our NRA grant materials. It's about $4,000 of materials that we received from NRA. And we're very appreciative of that help. I have 2 of my own kids that participate in that. Coming up around Earth Day, we have our Plant a Tree event where we partner with Virginia Forestry, and we get access to about 100 trees, and families and kids come out to get those trees along with educational materials. And that's one of our more popular events where they learn how to plant a tree, grow a tree, and every year I have someone come and tell me that their trees made it, they're doing good. Sometimes they don't, but it happens. But it's always a positive thing. They can watch it grow throughout the years. In addition to that, kind of similarly, we have our bucket garden program. It is a program coming up in the spring where kids and families alike are given the opportunity to learn how to be a little bit more self-sufficient, learn how to grow some of their own food, and all the skills that come along with that. On the next page is just a quick outline of a lot of the other programs that we have going on. I don't want to take up too much time with it, but we have our teen camp basically at Virginia Tech. It's called Congress, for ages 14 to 19. We have had an increased participation in that event over the last several years. So it's a great exposure to a university campus, and the kids have a great time. Camp Loud and Clear, it's mostly a Holiday Lake 4-H center event now, but still one of my more rewarding things that I participate with. It's a camp for the deaf and hard of hearing primarily, and it's just an amazing camp. Cloverbud Camp for the 5 to 8-year-olds. It's amazing that you can get just as tired in 2 nights with Cloverbuds, the age 5 to 8, as you can with the older kids, age 9 to 19. It's a great introductory camp for the longer camp, and sometimes they do much better than the older kids as far as homesickness and stuff like that. It's impressive. Also, Teen Summit, we have. Well, it used to be twice a year, but I think we're scaling it down to once a year. It's a Virginia 4-H initiative where it's an event for teens by teens where there's a leadership committee where the adults are there as mentorship only, and it has become one of the more popular state programs, and I'm proud to be a part of that too. Ag Days at Blackstone Research Center is where we can take youth to participate in some agriculture-based programming put on by the Research Center. And we have a horse club 4-H Tech Changemakers that I spoke to you before about helping seniors with the technology. And in closing, in the last page, you can see that where our funding comes from. And most importantly, on every dollar that the county provides to us, we thank you. You get about $3.69 in return for that. So if you have any questions after taking a look at this packet, please get in touch and let me know. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thanks. All right.
Next, we'll have Ms. Allie Hill from Virginia Food Works.
Thank you guys for having us here. My name is Allie Hill. I'm the founder of Virginia Food Works. Virginia Food Works is a little nonprofit that operates out of the Prince Edward Cannery, and we help farmers and food entrepreneurs take their recipe or their food, we say from recipe to retail. So we provide all the hands-on assistance that they need, how to do their label, how to make things in bulk and large scale and use the equipment at the facility and get their product into the grocery store at the farmer's market. This is Christy Pickett, our production manager. This is Audrey Dobson-Maliangos, our fantastic director. This is the strongest staff we've ever had. They are relatively new and have blown the board away every week after week with what their efficiency and their new ideas. We also have other part-time staff, and 4 of our staff members are Prince Edward County residents. We are also honored to be here. It's the first time we've been here since the VACO Achievement Award, which recognized a partnership between Prince Edward and Virginia Food Works. We've been operating for 12 years, and we've had hundreds of clients in the years. We've made hundreds of thousands of products for retail. Everything's in glass jars, applesauce, Bloody Mary mix. We've got some Worcestershire sauce that we're going to give you guys today with made from local apples. Lots of fruit jams and berries. I think we have some peach lemonade jam for you guys today. This new staff is bringing innovative new ways to use the cannery. We do provide a co-packing service. So that means farmers and food entrepreneurs can drop off foods and work with us, and we get the product into the jar safely and efficiently. We also have new ways and new pricing structures to help those small farmers market folks who get overwhelmed with all the regulations. So we will be advertising those new opportunities soon. Now that COVID is long past us, we're excited to do much more outreach. And so in the next 2 weeks, we've got Longwood students coming over. The food and culture class is coming to make applesauce with us. This morning, I picked up 4 bushels of apples for the class from a local orchard who's got apples still in cold storage. We also have Virginia Cooperative Extension agents training at our facility coming up, and we'll have 25 different cooperative extension agents doing hands-on production with us. And so we are going to send an invitation to each of you after this event and ask you to come and tour. You guys can come on a day when we're making production, and you can get as hands-on as you want. We've got huge boat paddle type things that you can stir the 60-gallon kettle if you want. If you just want to look from afar, but you have to wear your hairnet. It's very cute. But we'd love to have you come to see what we do. Every time you come, we'll give you free food samples. So a little sweeten the deal. But we want to thank you guys for supporting us all these years. It's so fun to get the phone calls or the emails of people saying, I want to make, gosh, we've had a little bit of everything. Like I said, Bloody Mary mix it's been a fun one recently with local tomatoes. But we do have a grant that Sarah's going to talk about, and I wanted to say what we're using the funding for is you'll see it in these jars. We have liquids, typically they're condiments and specialty food products, and we need a new filling machine to automatically dispense the amount in every jar. Ours has been down for a few months, and we are pouring by hand and trying to get the exact level for food safety, and it's been really hard. So we're excited. We found a perfect replacement for the liquid filler, and we want to add a new piece of equipment, 2 pieces of equipment that are new, and one's a peach pitter. We have so many peaches in Virginia. They're not necessarily very prevalent in Prince Edward County, but we have a lot of peach farmers who have a lot of seconds. So these peaches, if they're not perfect for retail sale, they just get thrown away. And so we'd like to have a machine to take the pits out of the peaches. And so we found one of those to create a new opportunity for farmers. And the third piece of equipment that's notable is a dry filling machine for people who have tea blends, herbs, dried herbs, and things like that they can package up. And so it's a dispenser for dry products. So that's what some of the things that are on the grant that I wanted to mention. But thank you guys for your support. I hope you enjoy the goodies in the bag, and please come visit us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, the AFID grant for the county.
Showed you up.
Madam Chair and members of the board, Ally and her team were the perfect lead-in for the discussion of the APHID grant. So as the board is aware, the Governor's Agriculture and Forestry Industries Development Fund, called APHID, provides grants to political subdivisions for community infrastructure development projects that support local food production and sustainable agriculture. The county has utilized this grant for the last 2 years to make infrastructure improvements to the cannery. And this year, the board had budgeted funds in the FY24 budget for this grant program in the amount of $14,000. And this year, we are teaming specifically with Virginia Food Works, as Ally indicated, to identify infrastructure that will continue to support the commercial operations. This equipment can also be used in the home canning side, but specifically, this equipment will be used on the commercial side to continue to support this partnership with Virginia Food Works and their partnership with all of the agriculture and food entrepreneurs in Virginia. So the items listed, the filling machines, the auger filling machine, the all-terrain pallet jack, the commercial blenders, storage cages, the consistometer, is that the right? Okay. Pulper, pit, and seed remover. All of those items total $42,000, which is the grant budget. Our $14,000 of local funds we can leverage $28,000 of grant funds, specifically because we are partnering with Virginia Food Works and the commercial side, and all of their partners enable the county to apply for twice as much grant funds. So if the board wishes to proceed, we would ask that you authorize the submittal of the grant application to VDAX and authorize the expenditure of the $14,000 of local matching funds for the grant. And then, as the motion indicates, authorize the county administrator to execute all documents and submit the application. Happy to answer any questions, or better yet, Ally and her team are.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any questions? Mr. Gillum?
Yes.
Dr. Pryor?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins? Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
What day is the applesauce gonna be ready?
We'll send you an email. Come on by. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
If I may, I'm going to suspend highway matters so that we can get to the proclamation of Child Abuse Prevention Month.
We can do that, and then we'll come back to the public hearing.
Yes, and then we'll come back to the public hearing, please.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. I am Chantel Chauvel, President of Phi Alpha Honor Society. We are so grateful for our partnership in the past years, and as stated in tonight's agenda, we are asking that you declare April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Phi Alpha is in the midst of preparations with Prince Edward DSS to put on 2 events that involve stewards of children prevention training. One event will be at Moton's Museum and the other on Longwood's campus. Both events are available to members of the Prince Edward County community. If you have any questions at this time, I am happy to answer them. If not, we want to thank you for your time and attention, and we hope that you continue our partnership this year.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm the vice president. I just want to reiterate the same kind of thing. Thank you guys for your continued support of this effort. I think we owe it to the children of this community to stick up for them, let them know that we can count on all of us in this room and out in the community. Thank you.
Just very briefly again, Ian Danielson, Assistant Professor of Social Work at Longwood University, and very much appreciate our ongoing partnership in April to observe and honor Child Abuse Prevention Month. I'm an authorized Stewards of Children trainer. Stewards of Children is a national evidence-based program that helps train the citizenry like us to be a little bit more protective, to know the signs of child abuse, to know what to do in response to those signs, to support children. So it's a trauma-informed training for everyone. We partner with Greater Richmond Scan that used to employ me in Richmond years ago, and they make the workbooks and the technology for this training available so that we can make it at no charge to members of the community and to members of people at Longwood as well. We're going to have one training on April 16th at Moton, and the second one April 18th at Hull Hall and Longwood. So we hope folks will consider coming out. We'll get the promotions out. We welcome you to come join us. It's a 2.5-hour video-based and discussion-based training. And this is the way that we sort of put on service activities in response to the proclamation of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. And we're happy to be joined by Kevin Meadows, who was going to say just a couple words as well. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. How are y'all? I'm Kevin Meadows. For those that know me, good to see you. Those that don't, nice to meet you and see you. We appreciate Longwood, supporting us, supporting, the efforts to show support for those that look into child abuse and neglect. It is everywhere. You see it all the time. I have workers on call 24/7, 365. We try to support this community as best we can, not only for children, adults, and anybody in need. So we appreciate y'all's support, and thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate all what you do.
Want to get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins? Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Gillum?
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go to the public hearing.
Madam Chair, members of the board,
Yes, sir.
thank you again for letting me stand up here and for you a whole bunch. Before we dive into it, just a little recap. Mr. Jenkins, you had a question about how many dog tags we sold and everything. A total for registered, unregistered, and people that actually bought their tags, we have a total of around 3,500 dogs in the county. Well, actually it can be dogs and cats that have gotten their rabies vaccinations. About half of those folks have gotten their county tags, about half of that have not. So we're going to be kind of working on that here in the next couple of months and giving them a phone call here and there.
Thank you.
And then just updates so far, it's the 11th week of the year. So we've actually only really had 55 work days during the week. We've brought in 115 critters so far this year. So just a little update. But then, as you remember, last board meeting, you guys approved the fun and exciting public hearing. Madam Chair, is there anything that you would like me to touch on, recap, reiterate, or go into greater detail? Any of the revisions or additions that we've asked for?
I don't. I've read through it. Is there anyone else who needs some clarification on anything?
Madam Chair, just one thing, and I'd asked Adam earlier, and I guess it's the individual who finds a companion animal. You said the 48 hours was a state code. Is that right, Adam?
That is correct.
We're not allowed to increase or decrease that, Doug, or do you know?
Certainly probably couldn't decrease it, could we, Terry?
Can't make it more stringent.
I understand your comment that if you're the owner of the dog and your dog is picked up, you'd like to be notified
Before 48 hours.
But I think until something happens in the state code, I think we're stuck with that.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Actually, we need to go ahead and open the public
Oh,
hearing.
I apologize. We're going to open the public hearing for anyone who has any concerns about the ordinance for animals in Prince Edward County.
Nobody signed up.
Okay, nobody signed up. Hearing none, we're going to close the public hearing. Thank you, sir. Now, can we get a motion?
I'm gonna move that the board approve the amendments to chapter 10, animals of the county code as presented.
Can we get a second?
I will.
It's been proposed and second. Are there any further questions? Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
And Mr. Gillum? Patty Cooper Jones? Yes. Thank you. Okay, our second public hearing, Mr. Love?
Madam Chairman, members of the board, this is a public hearing for a special use permit filed by the county administrator, Doug Stanley, on behalf of Prince Edward County IDA. This special use permit is for consideration to construct an elevated water storage tank not to exceed 265 feet in total height with a booster pump station on land denoted as 039-A-3, which is located on the south side of Kelly Lane at its intersection with Persimmon Tree Fork Road. This parcel is zoned commercial, and this use does require a special use permit. This public hearing was properly advertised in the Farmville Herald. All adjoining property owners, as well as the town of Farmville, was notified since this is in close proximity to the town. The Planning Commission held their advisory hearing on February 20th, where no one spoke in opposition, and the commission unanimously recommended approval with 11 conditions, which you have in your package. And county staff is of the opinion that the general use will not have any negative impact on the district or the surrounding properties. I'd be glad to answer any question you might have of me.
We're going to open the public hearing. Would anyone care to address the issue? Seeing and hearing none, we're going to close the public hearing. Can we have a motion, please?
I have one little question,
Yes, sir.
please. Robbie, this capacity of 1,400 gallons a minute, that means that that tank is being filled and can be used out 1,400 gallon a minute?
I think I defer to
Timmons?
I think I want to defer to Timmons on that question. I think their engineer is here. I think that'd be better, more appropriate. You get a better answer on that. Technical answer.
Yeah, thank you Supervisor Gillum. My name is Joe Hines with Timmons Group Engineers. I know most of you. So this, just for clarification, this tank is to serve the Hitt Park data center site. As most of you are aware, data centers are very highly in demand. Give you a little bit of big picture perspective. AWS announced $35 billion statewide investment, $11 billion going to Louisa County, and their site was not too dissimilar from the Hitt Park site. Artificial intelligence is about 15% built out as far as data centers are concerned. So there's a lot of activity floating around this industry, and you all are very aware of Mecklenburg County, Virginia, and the Microsoft facility. So we're continuing advancing this site. This is one of the elements, is bringing an elevated water storage tank there to provide adequate fire flow and pressure to the system. I believe Mr. Delbert Southall, a neighbor, spoke up at the planning commission saying, hey, if you can make sure we have a hydrant, because that way the neighbors can get a better insurance rating and lower insurance for the houses because they would have access to fire flow. I'll let Mr. Bruce Strickland, one of our partners at Timmons, who has done the engineering design associated with this, answer any technical questions. But I just wanted to provide that context going into or ending the public hearing going into the vote.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Pleased to be here with you tonight and to answer any questions that you have on the special use permit application. And I'll start by just giving a broader context to the overall project. The special use permit is for the elevated tank itself. Another component of the design that we're actively working on is the water line extension from the town of Farmville. That's going to connect in the Sunchase Boulevard area and then extend down East 3rd Street and Persimmon Tree Fork Road. As Mr. Hines mentioned, it will have fire hydrants along that line and isolation valves. And the water will flow from the town of Farmville system into the suction side of those booster pumps that are located in the base of the tank. So the pumps are capable of pumping up to 1,400 gallons per minute to fill the elevated tank that will be on the Hit Park property. The capacity of the flow coming out of the tank itself will be much higher than that. And the tank will also have a pressure reducing valve to allow flow back out into the Farmville system in the event that there is some fire scenario. But primarily, it would be dedicated to the use of the Hit Park, could allow for return flow back into the town system. And this is ultimately in a phase one of the water supply to the Hit Park. And the tank was sized and the elevation was set for the tank based on all of the planning work that's going on for the Sandy River Reservoir Water Project as well. Hopefully that adequately addresses your question. I'd be happy to answer any others that you may have.
Can you speak to the final design, what the tank is going to look like? I see in the drawings, you know, obviously black and white. Who's in charge of making those final calls on, you know, color, design, emblem that often come with something like this?
Sure. So the construction of the tank, the materials that'll be used, it's a 1 million gallon composite style tank. So the shaft of the tank will be concrete that's cast in place. It's an architectural concrete. It has a silo look to it, like an agricultural silo. The bowl of the tank will sit at the top, and that will be constructed of welded steel. It can be painted any color that you like, as long as those coatings meet the state waterworks regulations for drinking water safety. Ultimately, the county has the decision on the color of the tank. The concrete itself, I've heard of it being tinted. It's typically just a standard gray concrete color with a nice architectural finish. And then also the first 2 lifts of that concrete pedestal, so about 16 feet or so, come with an anti-graffiti coating. So if there is any vandalism that were to occur, it can be more easily cleaned off.
So I think to get to your question, Supervisor Jones, there are actually people who win contests for what they paint on the tanks. You know, whether it's the peach going into Gaffney, South Carolina, or various different locations. I saw a top of a tank that had TUIT on the top of it, and they call it their round to it tank. You know, if you ever seen when I get around to it. So there's a whole level of different things you can do, but it is really a billboard for the locality as well too. So you can put, you know, Hit Park on there. You can put Prince Edward County emblem. You could do whatever you want to. I believe the water tank in town, right across from Rite Aid, has Longwood emblem on it. So you know you have a full array of options.
Sure.
To paint the tank.
Thank you. Any further questions? Has been motion and second. Mr. Gillum?
Yes.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Emmer?
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes.
And Madam Chair, I just want to point out, we've applied to the Virginia Business Ready Safe Program for funding for the construction of the tank and the associated water line, and hopefully in the coming months, we'll find out whether or not we've been successful with that application.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next we'll do highway matters.
Great exodus. Sarah, come and take all that.
Yeah, she's coming up.
Get the whole music back.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I am happy to record any highway matters and will relay them to Bill. So I think Scott's still on assignment in Lynchburg, so Bill is doing that job. So if you have any highway matters, happy to.
Potholes. They everywhere.
Specific?
No, just anywhere you go.
Okay.
The ground is wet and the pavement's cracking.
Where you go? Do something else.
I'll pass it along.
Sarah, Harris Creek, right where you come out of Dollar General. I've gotten some phone calls this week about it being a large pothole there.
Is it the ponding there on the right?
It's
The ponding?
ponding, and there's a hole there also.
Okay.
Also, if you're going into the old part of, I guess it'd be old 460 going into Pamplin, as you turn in there, it's a terrible hole on the right in the corner, where if you're driving a trailer or something, you cannot miss it no matter what. It's probably 150 feet off of 460 if you're going west.
At the eastern entrance of
The
Old
eastern-
460?
The eastern entrance going west, that's correct.
Okay.
You just can't miss it, especially if there's anything coming. You
And about
have to do it.
150 feet from the
About
intersection?
150 off the intersection of 460 there.
Okay.
And then I knocked at the Quail Crossing Road.
Yes, sir.
They logging on it, and it's really rough in there.
Okay.
It really needs somebody to dress it up. Look at it.
Trey, what were those two, what are those two forthcoming road closures? That's Monday or Tuesday? There's Weaver Road is going to be closed. I think it may be Monday for a pipe replacement. What was the other one? On the 18th and the 19th, Jerry, I think
Both of
this is.
those in my district.
Yeah, okay. The 18th and the 19th, that's a railroad crossing, so VDOT, we're going to put them on Facebook.
Okay.
But VDOT doesn't control that work because it's the railroad. So they're just having to say both days it could be closed. The Weaver, they're not going to close it until after the school buses go through in the morning,
Okay.
so.
I gave Bill my roads. I saw him earlier.
Yes. He was here by mistake, so he left quickly.
I don't blame him. Jerry got him coming in, so he didn't have a choice.
Okay, I'll pass these along. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a resolution approval of regional hazard mitigation plan.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
In 2020, the Commonwealth Regional Council, the CRC, was awarded a grant through FEMA to do pre-disaster mitigation program to undertake the CRC's update to Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan. This process it takes time, it takes back and forth effort between the counties, the towns that are involved in it. It involves all the counties that serve the CRC, along with the independent towns inside of those. Excuse me, I got something in my throat. A plan update is required every 5 years. The Disaster Mitigation Act charges localities with the responsibility of identifying, assessing, mitigating the risk within their communities to help ensure the critical services would continue to function if a disaster was to occur. The update to the Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan has been approved by the Virginia Department of Emergency Management and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. It is important to note that this is, with the approval of the hazard mitigation plan, the county is eligible for future funding for mitigation grants, opportunities, if available, to implement pre- and post-disaster projects. Attached is a draft resolution for approval, and the resolution should be in your package prior to. Do you have any questions? I'll be glad to answer.
Move it here. Adopt the drafted resolution.
Second.
Okay, has moved and second to adopt a resolution. Any further questions? Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins? Dr. Pratt?
Yes.
And Mr. Gillum?
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes. Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
On the handout I'm providing to you, you'll find my report from which I'll provide some highlights. Last week, we held a virtual site tour of the HIT Park as the next step in the BEDP Business Ready Sites Program application process. As mentioned before, the funding request amount was $16.9 million to develop the water infrastructure at the HIT Park. And you just heard some more information about that, and thank you for approving that special use permit. On March 11th, we had a site visit at the HIT Park with the prospect, which went very well. Additionally, several more NDAs are in the works with prospects regarding that site. We held an Economic Development Strategic Plan coordination meeting with RKG Associates. We will be having our kickoff meeting either the week of March 24th or the 31st. Last month, we submitted the Tobacco Commission Southern Virginia grant proposal to fund the industrial access road for the HIT Park project. The amount, or the funding amount requested, was $442,005. The IDA is working towards finalizing the sale of the business park lot for the Harbor Freight project. The IDA will hold a special meeting about this coming Friday. Regarding tourism, we will be developing a new Prince Edward County tourism website featuring the county as a wedding destination. And we recently had a consultation with the company regarding website development. We participated in the Virginia Crossroads March meeting. Prince Edward County is partnering with this regional tourism organization on a VTC Marketing Leverage Program grant to update the Virginia's Crossroad website and brochure, the Regional Civil War Trails brochure, and the Civil Rights and Education Heritage Trail brochure, and all of which are very important because the county is featured as destinations, as we have many of the sites on all of those trails and brochures. Also, as a part of our participation in this organization, we were recommended and approved to host the National Civil War Trails Board meeting in Prince Edward County in 2025. And so we're excited about this tourism promotional opportunity. Staff recently had a meeting with CBS 6 News Senior Account Manager about partnering to promote Farmville in Prince Edward County. Good things are in the works, and so we'll provide updates on this as soon as possible as well. This month, we also begin the VA 250 exhibit project coordination in partnership with local stakeholders and letterpress communications. We had our first Prince Edward County Tourism Council regular meeting last month, and we had elections for officers for the year. And so for Chair, Mark Smith, he'll be serving again. Vice Chair, Karen Caton, will be serving again, and Secretary Molly Kinahan will be serving again, all in the same positions. And lastly, we're thankful for the work being completed at the Visitor Center, including updating the hours of operation sign. Now we have a very nice, sleek sign that's on the glass door, and as also getting the flooring updated behind the front desk. Thank you for your time, and I'll try to answer any questions that you might have.
Very good.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, great job.
Yeah,
Good.
absolutely. Good work.
Okay, the next is that was economic development update.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
So the first topic of discussion for tonight is the professional pre-audit services. To enable the County of Prince Edward to meet the requirements of the Statement of Auditing Standards 115, issued by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, and provide guidance to external auditors on how they should communicate internal control-related matters identified in their audit to an organization's financial statements, the staff is recommending the county engage professional accounting services to provide the pre-audit scope of work. Rutherford Moss provided this scope of service to the county for the previous year's audit and continues to provide the same scope of services to neighboring counties, including Lunenburg, Charlotte, Appomattox, and Cumberland. Their letter of engagement, which includes their scope of services and fees, is attached. Staff anticipate they will start pre-audit services on or about June 1st, 2024. And so we're asking you to approve the letter of engagement and authorize Mr. Stanley to execute the agreement.
Madam Chair, I move the board approve the hiring of Rutherford Moss and authorize Doug to execute it.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any questions? All in favor? Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins? Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Gillum?
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes. Proceed, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. The next item is landfill appropriation, Cell F construction and dump truck. On February 13th, 2024, the board approved to award a lump sum contract of $1,594,000 to Sargent Corporation and include a 5% contingency amount for any necessary change orders for the construction of Cell F at the Prince Edward County landfill. The board also authorized the purchase of a 2018 John Deere 410E in the amount of $198,500 for the landfill construction, from the landfill construction fund. We ask that the board appropriate these funds as follows.
Recommend the board approve the fiscal year 24 budget supplement presented above and appropriate the same funds.
Second.
It's been approved, been motioned and second. Any questions? Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Gillum and Patty Cooper Jones, yes.
Yes.
Next item is the VTC grant. On December 13th, 2023, Prince Edward County was awarded the VTC VA 250 grant for our Celebrating Virginia's History, a Look at Prince Edward County campaign. This is a reimbursement grant through the Virginia Tourism Corporation in the amount of $10,000. The board is asked to approve and appropriate as follows.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Gillum?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes.
And the last item is animal control donations. Animal control received donations in FY '24 totaling $1,340 and has unspent donations from FY '23 in the amount of $1,065 towards the care of boarded animals. The board is asked to appropriate FY '24 donations and carry forward the unspent donations from FY '23 as follows.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any questions? Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Gillum?
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, our county attorney's report.
Madam Chair, Board, Mr. Stanley.
Anyway, we've had a busy month. One of the items that we've worked on, I'll be covering later, working with TRC LLC for the purchase of that real estate in the business park for Harbor Freight. Some drafting, some title issues. Anyway, we also had a review of the contract for the CELF for the landfill. On the 27th of February, was in court on a dangerous dog case that was continued from the 20th. Anyway, we were able to get provisions in place so a neighbor could not worry about coming home at night and having a dog from a neighbor be out there. Anyway, we also had another petition yesterday, petitions filed yesterday for a seizure of another dog that's not being treated properly and that was caught running off property, and we'll have a hearing for that coming up later this month. And we've had several Freedom of Information questions and contacts. Anyway, that's a little bit of what we've been up to this month. Anybody have any questions, concerns for me?
You want to go ahead and handle the TRC number 24 while Terry's at the podium?
Okay,
Let me get my cheat sheet. Grab my notes.
it's number 24, but it's on this page. Okay, number 24, TRC Farmville LLC modification and deed restrictions.
While Terry's getting her notes, one of the things that the IDA and the county typically place on a deed when we transfer a parcel is a buyback clause, and that's for good reason, because if that developer doesn't develop the parcel for the purposes stated for the sale, then you want that property returned back to the community so that we can then find an adequate purchaser and developer for the parcel. As we found out with the car wash parcel that's going in next to Wawa and now the Harbor Freight, typically, in these cases, we have, I'll say, a front man, a developer that's buying, and then will turn around and flip and sell the parcel to a third-party entity, in this case, Harbor Freight. But that deed restriction creates a problem. And Terry, you want to take it from there?
Okay, all righty. Yes, as Mr. Stanley said, the entity that's initially buying it, that'll turn around and do with the Harbor Freight, their title company has asked that there are two provisions that they want us to address. One of them is they want the Board of Supervisors to approve the deed from the IDA, and all of that is based on the instrument where the IDA acquired the property that's kind of where Lowe's is in that whole corner. And it's said that the county had to approve any special warranty deed that was there. Because that property was acquired, the county gave that to the IDA. There's also, they want you, as Mr. Stanley referenced, they're concerned about those provisions because they wouldn't be able to turn around and sell it. But, part of it is that they're starting to move forward with the building.
They've got a building permit.
Got a building permit. So the main thing you're worried about is if it's a vacant lot, that they're going to turn around and sell it, and we won't know who they're going to, have there. We wouldn't have vetted what the development was going to do. So, and a lot of the restrictions that you look at that were put in place in 2002, a lot of those have been addressed through our zoning now, which probably was not in place in 2002. And the agreement itself says that it would only be effective for the first 20 years, which that would be 2022. But it does say that it's automatically renewable for 10-year periods thereafter, unless and otherwise terminated by the governing body, by the board. And all they're asking is for you to terminate it for this little section. They don't want you to totally revoke those restrictions in the future. They just want it for this particular lot.
Any questions?
What's the pros and cons, Terry? Or are there any?
Well, I guess you do run the risk that TRC would not turn around and Harbor Freight wouldn't go there, but we've been in negotiations with these folks for,
Before I came to Prince
yes,
Edward.
right, for a long time. And I think that they definitely are going to move forward with the Harbor Freight. You know, and like I said, that the fact that there are zoning regulations that protect a lot of this now, as far as signage and that sort of thing that were addressed then, you know, you're always asked to waive those things, and we could, you know, pick out specific ones out of there, but you know, I just think, you know, moving forward with it to go ahead and get it developed, and I'm pretty sure that, you know, they're not going to back out because we've had conversations with them for a long time. Been through a lot trying to get it to this point.
Joyce, you're on the board. Any input at all?
I personally like the idea of the buyback from the county. I was in favor of that. I think we should always do that in case something does go south. And I do understand that this is an issue for them. However, I do think we need to protect ourselves. That's just my opinion.
Any comments, Doug?
You know, I agree with Joyce, but I think the reality is, we had to do this in the car wash lot. They've spent the money, they've done the building plans, they've submitted the permit application, they've received their permit. I think we're, you know, barring some extreme unforeseen circumstance, it's going to happen. And once the building's built, you know, that satisfies everything. So given how far they are, I don't like pulling back, but given how far they are and they've stuck with us for 4 years, I think we're as comfortable as we can be, I think.
And I'm willing to push back, you know, I just, you know, because of the situation that we did with the car wash, it was a similar situation with this. You know, I'm willing to push back on something, but I'm also concerned that it'll blow apart the deal, so.
All right, that's food for thought.
Such a thing as a signed paper that they will continue to go forward, or we can give them a year, 2 years. They sign.
I think that's right. I think we've already got that.
Right, yeah,
That's
yeah.
Any further comments or questions?
I mean, this is a, you know, this entity was just barely buying it, and then they're turning around and having Harbor Freight, that's their process.
Can we get a motion?
That's a lot to digest all at once.
It's on page 168 in your table pack. 68.
So 183.
183, yeah.
Oh, apologize.
You say we did do one similar to this for the car wash.
Yes. Well, we modified those restrictions.
184.
Now, I will point out on the special warranty deed, I mean, on that original agreement, it does say that that 100% of the sales proceeds come back to the county. You know, to the county's general fund. On that agreement that's attached to that original deed.
Which still stands, correct?
Yes.
Or would stand?
Yeah, that would still stand. They just want the county to approve that, you know, the IDA can be the one conveying the property.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All right, any further questions?
And that is with all stipulations.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3. Is that correct, Ken?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins? Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Gillum? And Patty Cooper Jones, yes. Thank you, Ms. Terry.
All right, thank y'all.
Hang around, Terry, we can belabor something else.
Okay, we got the snacks. Do we need to do the alcohol and safety program or go to you?
Let's get, knock me out, and then we'll come back if
Okay.
that works.
All right.
Madam Chair, members of the board, just a week and a half ago, we had a newspaper. I was looking, you know, it had the great story about the Barbara Rose John statue at the Capitol, the sales tax bill, and the poultry cooperative going through. And I said, that's what we're here for, making things happen in the community. It's great to see progress in our community. Few other items to report on. Hurt and Profit has completed approximately 50% of the field work and on the Nottoway Prince Edward County boundary line. We hope to have that finished in the next few months. I'll keep you posted on progress. Appreciate Chelsea updating you on the Business Ready Sites Program grant application. Hopefully, we're positioned well to be successful, if not all of the grant application, at least to get the connection over to the town water system and the water tank constructed. As we know, our sales tax bill was rolled into the statewide bill, and that's gone to the governor's desk for consideration. Also, Senate Bill 679, which included our request both through Senator Mulcahy and Delegate Wright to extend our enterprise zone for an additional 5-year renewal period. That has gone to the governor's desk, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that gets approved. Planning Commission, next week we'll have 2 public hearings on 2 smaller solar projects out in Mr. Jenkins' district. One, the Miller Lake project, which is a 5-megawatt project, and then the Piney Grove project, which is an 8-megawatt project. The Industrial Development Authority is working with RKG Associates to complete an economic development strategic plan. I think Chelsea's going to be reaching out to different folks in the community, pulling them in together to be part of that process, and we hope to get that kicked off here by the end of the month. I was contacted last week by Brightspeed. Brightspeed is the former CenturyLink company. CenturyLink, of course, has, I'll say DSL, not necessarily broadband, but DSL speed internet access in the community and phone service in parts of Farmville and Prince Edward. But this, Brightspeed's looking to submit a $6.7 million project that would upgrade from copper wire to fiber about 641 residences and businesses in the Farmville area. These are locations that wouldn't be covered by the Connects project, but kind of in the middle. And, you know, folks that would say, yeah, I've got 20 megabytes of service. It's nowhere near what Connects is offering. When can I get service? Well, it wasn't part of our project, but this project would pick up some of those locations. So I guess good. And some of those locations, Chantel's already there, so it'll create some competition, so people will have choice, which I think is a good thing. But they'll be coming back to the county in the next several months requesting a letter of support. Sarah virtually attended a VDOT staff meeting on the Manor Turn Lane project back on February 21st. We're working with VDOT and Dominion to try to coordinate Dominion's planned upgrades to the local electric transmission line along Route 15 so they can be relocated outside of the VDOT right-of-way for the project. And that way, the project would not have to bear the cost of those relocation utilities. Sandy River project, DQ had a public hearing last Monday, March 5th, at the Prince Edward County High School on the draft permit application. I was able to make an opening statement, and we had 7 speakers. I want to thank Supervisors Townsend and Gillum, along with Mr. G, Ilsa Lurzler, Brad Watson, and Ken Copeland for speaking on the county's behalf at that permit application hearing. Hopefully, I think that comment period closes here in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we'll be able to move forward for too long on that project. On March 8th, Prince Edward County project team submitted our proposal to the Virginia Department of General Services for providing water to the state facilities in Burkeville. We provided 4 different proposed rate structure proposals based on whether we were serving just the state facilities plus the towns of Crewe and Burkeville, and those facilities plus development at the HIP Park. The project team did a fantastic job of pulling the proposal together. I think time will tell if DGS feels that proposal is the best one to ultimately meet the needs of those facilities. And that's the culmination of 3 years of work to get to that point. I appreciate the board's support on that. The 2025 general reassessment of real estate property in Prince Edward County as of March 1, we're about 49% complete with reassessment of 7,020 parcels out of 14,263 total parcels. We are on schedule to complete the project this fall. County staff and mainly Trey, want to thank Trey for getting a $1.7 million assistance to firefighters grant submitted for radio system equipment for our fire departments. That's part of our Motorola project. If successful, those funds can help reduce what we're going to have to come out of pocket with for our portion of the radio system upgrade. And lastly, the Connects Broadband Project as of March 1, a total of 261 miles of middle mile conduit and fiber have been installed in Prince Edward County, 37 miles through the VADI program and 224 through the federal RDOF program. They passed almost 3,000 houses and businesses and have hooked up a total of 495 customer installs. There's one happy customer right there who now has fast internet access. So slowly but surely, we're getting it out. And I know that's when I got here, that was one of the biggest issues that people complained about is lack of internet access. And this board and what y'all have done, we're making a difference and we're getting high-speed fiber to people's houses. So that's all I have, Madam Chair, unless there are any questions.
Any questions? Thank you for your report, sir. Okay. Personnel Committee report.
Me? Hold on, let me pull that out there. Let's see. All right. Personnel Committee, Madam Chair, met at 4 p.m. today. Members present, Patty Cooper Jones, Dr. Dustin Pride, and Supervisor Harrison Jones. Personnel Committee is making the following recommendations to the board. Number 1, an amendment to the county personnel policy. The committee recommends that the board approve to repeal the underlying section of the original personnel policy and approve the highlighted amendment. Essentially, we are making changes to the section regarding overtime and compensatory time, and changing from the current practice of a maximum accrual of comp time at 40 hours to state non-exempt employees who work approved overtime shall receive comp time off at the rate of 1.5 hours for each hour worked. The maximum accrual of comp time shall be 40 hours. For non-exempt safety employees, as defined by the Fair Labor Standards Act, who work approved overtime shall receive comp time off at 1.5 hours for each hour worked. The maximum accrual of comp time shall be 80 hours. When a non-exempt employee reaches their maximum accrual of comp time, any resulting overtime work will be paid at the time accrual at the rate of 1.5 hours for each hour worked. Any remaining comp time will be paid at the employee's regular rate of pay at the end of the calendar year. So currently, everybody gets 40 hours of comp time. For our public safety and security positions, they'll be able to go up to 80, which gives flexibility to the supervisors to allow them to work that additional time off a little bit more, I guess, a grace period. but then clarifying that at the end of the year, we're paying off at the end of the year that you earned it. Because what happens if people carry it for multiple years, as they get salary increases, it costs the county more money 3 or 4 years down the road to pay them back off. So this is helping clean that off the books. And then we also have a recommendation for approval of request by Sheriff Epps for the 4 promotions and 1 merit increase as outlined in the attachment effective April 1, 2024. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I request, there's a sample motion there on the bottom of page 2 to accept the recommendation of the Personnel Committee to amend Section 4.1 of the Personnel Policy, and then also to approve the promotions and merit increase as requested by the sheriff.
What was the personnel's recommendation?
To approve it.
To approve it?
Yes, sir. Unanimously.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any questions? Mr. Gillum?
Yes.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Emmett?
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes. And I see there's one other thing that,
We've got 2 others. Well, I know we got items 22 and 23. Did you have one on the regular agenda as well?
we did 22,
No, we did
No.
24.
Yeah, we did 24.
24, okay. 22,
So 22, so the county received word back in December that we were awarded a $44,750 joint planning grant from the Opioid Abatement Authority. That grant will cover Prince Edward, Buckingham, and Cumberland counties and will provide a roadmap on how we utilize opioid abatement funds moving forward. By doing the grant and the plan, we're also eligible for additional state funds. This gap will help us conduct a gap analysis of treatment services and infrastructure for persons affected by substance use disorder in the county and surrounding areas, and will determine the best and highest use of the opioid abatement funds. The reason why we've got the 3 counties together is that that's what's being proposed as the drug court area. We received 1 proposal. It's from a Miss Helen Elizabeth Revis. I've known her. She was a former social services director for myself. She has helped another locality work on their opioid planning study and get their drug court up and running. And the grant would cover the proposed cost of the work. So the only cost share is $5,250, which would be split between Prince Edward, Buckingham, and Cumberland. So it's going to cost us $1,750 of opioid money, so it's not, and we have to use that money on these types of services.
I move that we contract with Helen Revis. Second.
it's been moved and properly second. Any questions? Mr. Emmett?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Watson, I apologize, sir. Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Gillum?
Yes.
And Patty Cooper Jones, yes.
23, Madam Chair, the Piedmont Alcohol Safety Action Program, or ASAP program, which has long served the counties of Amelia, Appomattox, Buckingham, Charlotte, Cumberland, Lunenburg, Nottaway, and Prince Edward. The board has decided to dissolve effective May 31 of 2024. I think for a number of different reasons, but financial, I think, is one of the big pieces of it. I know that the judges have been talking about, I think, they had some concerns because they didn't have a director, they weren't getting the work done. Folks were having to go to court and sign up for, to get your driver's license back, you had to be enrolled in an ASAP class, and classes weren't available. And so I know some of the judges talked with the state. The state had talked with folks down with the Southside Virginia Alcohol Safety Action Program. I know, Sarah, you've talked with Roy Keith Lloyd, the executive director. They are proposing to bring some of these jurisdictions into their territory and become part of that. They have also have made a budget request to us to have I think $5,000 for next year. But at this time, they need a resolution to be approved, that's included in your packet, for us to join the Southside Virginia ASAP program, but also to consider appointment of somebody to serve on their board. Now, our two current reps, one, Donna Nunley, and she is not interested in serving, and Russell Dove, and Russell is interested in continuing to serve on the new Alcohol Safety Action Board. The board has the option of either advertising or appointing. I can say we could probably spend a couple $100 and put the ad in the paper, but we probably won't get an ad or a response to that ad. So my general suggestion, I think, is if you've got somebody who is warm and willing to serve, then put them on there. But
Is that based, where, based out of Charlotte? South Boston?
so there's a motion on page 177 at the bottom for consideration.
So Russell said he would serve. Well, I move the board approve the resolution authorizing Prince Edward County and to appoint Russell Dove to a 3-year term of the office for the Southside Virginia ASAP program.
Second.
Any questions? Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Dr. Pryor?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins? Patty Cooper Jones? Yes. Now we're ready for closed session.
Closed session.
Is that,
Closed session.
I don't have the, I make a motion that we go to closed session pursuant to, I don't have it all with me, 11A, A12, pursuant to, you got it, Jerry? Go ahead.
No, that's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.2-3711A8, consultation with legal counsel, and section 2.2-3711A29, award of a public contract.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Dr. Pryor?
Yes.
Mr. Gillum? Patty Cooper Jones, yes. The board is now convened in closed session.
Okay, I'll find it. I'll get it.
Can we get a motion for
Madam
comment?
Chair, I make a motion that we come back into open session.
Second.
Okay, it has been motioned and properly second. Roll call vote. Mr. Gillum.
Yes.
Dr. Pride.
Yes.
Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Townsend.
Yes.
Mr. Emmert.
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes.
Madam Chair, whereas the Prince Edward County Board of Supervisors has convened in closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provision of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-33712 of the Code of Virginia requires certification by the board that such closed session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be resolved, the board hereby certifies to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements of Virginia law were discussed in closed session to which the certification resolution applies, and only such public matters as were identified in the motion to which the closed session was convened or heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call. Dr. Pride.
Yes.
Mr. Townsend.
Yes.
Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Gillum.
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Emmert.
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes.
Madam Chair, I make a motion the Board of Supervisors approve the intergovernmental service agreement with the Department of Homeland Security in substantiating the form presented to this board. This meeting with such changes may be approved by the chair of the board, who is hereby authorized to execute such agreement and related agreements and certifies, provided however that such approval is specifically conducted upon the acceptance of the DHS of the fee structure proposed by the county for such agreements.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gillum?
Yes.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins? Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes.
And Madam Chair, I also make a motion the Board of Supervisors approve the subcontracting service agreement with Abion LLC in connection with the governmental service agreement with DHS in substantiating the form presented at this meeting with such changes as may be approved by the chair of the board, who is hereby authorized to execute such agreement and any related agreements and certificates.
Second.
Motion second, any questions? Mr. Emmert?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Dr. Pride?
Yes.
Mr. Gillum?
Yes.
Patty Cooper Jones, yes.
That's it.
Any further discussion?
Oh, I got some on it. Just bring up,
Okay.
put out. I was told recently with Dana, the president of Farmville, resigned, or the lady that's oversees, EMS.
Yep.
Deanna.
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 Yep.
Don't know exactly what the day, but she no longer, she gave her, submitted her resignation
It was last Friday.
last Friday. One of the things, I know we have been discussing some time ago, years ago, but never, we always kind of tabled it a little bit. I think this might be a good time to maybe, if we can arrange to sit down and talk about a public safety director. I know that for the Prince Edward to kind of oversee all the fire and EMS. As far as consistent with equipment, making sure everybody's equipment is interchangeable, making sure that any presentations or requests is presented to the board instead of hearing from 7 different entities on their requests and their needs. One, this public safety director, and several counties gone to a public safety director, even Charlotte County, and that's small. I think if this may be a good opportunity as being chair of fire EMS, that we may be something we want to sit down and discuss or have a conversation or dialogue about, if we're gonna want to ever move in that direction.
Only thing I would be a little concerned about is if volunteerism, struggling some, I want to make sure that the fire departments would want that, or wouldn't really dislike it.
Right.
How about that?
I think we need, and I totally agree. I mean, we got to get everybody on board, but I think I'm just saying it may be an opportunity to engage in some dialogue on that topic.
I will say Trey Powell has done an excellent job of procuring grants and items that all the departments can use and interchange together. That's a big plus.
Slowly but surely, we're making Trey that person. I'll just say, he's taken,
He's doing it on
we're
his own.
speaking with one voice from the fire departments. I know Peepers and Dave, you're on the board. Peepers has kind of been off themselves a little bit, but I think certainly, I don't know what, I've talked to Dave Wilmoth a little bit. Dave's president, I believe, isn't he?
That's correct.
Try to see where they're anticipating on going with the direction. I know at one point in time, I think Ham City and Longwood were kicking in some funding to help them fund
Correct.
the position. But, I think y'all are trying to reevaluate what exactly you need right
That's
now.
exactly right. We just had a meeting last, whatever night it was, that we looked at that as to whether we were gonna actually hire someone to replace her, or if we were gonna hire, a person to do the financial side and the
Like an office manager.
office manager and all that, simply because Deanna ran a lot of calls as well as did that, so she wasn't in the office as much as now that they need someone there to answer the phone and all of that, so kind of looking at.
How long has she been in the
at
job?
how, sir,
How long has she been in the job?
3 years, a little over 3. And she completely turned it around. I mean, it was a mess, as we all know. I mean, for those of you that weren't on the board, financially, they were in terrible shape. And she really and truly turned it around, completely turned it around as to what it is now. And now they have some full-time positions and pretty much have it covered 24 hours a day. A little bit of a difference, and this was brought up, I don't know how long ago, the difference between Charlotte County and Appomattox County and Prince Edward. In Prince Edward County, Prince Edward County Volunteer Rescue Squad they didn't drop calls, more or less. I mean, if they had to have enough people to cover it, Meharon helped out a tremendous amount. But with Charlotte County, they had 3, plus they had Meharon that picked up a lot of theirs that was not in Charlotte County, right at the edge of it, and they had Appomattox that picked up a lot of theirs right there around Pamplin and all that. So they actually had 5, whereas Prince Edward only had 1. And that's what got us in trouble years ago, and Medicare and Medicaid and the way you can bill things and what can be done and what can't be has a lot to do with it also. And whether it's run by the county versus volunteer, a lot of that comes into play. CRC, which if Trey was here, he would tell you that we do a lot. Doug comes to that meeting. They're the ones who do the most of the grant writing for all of these things, and they've really helped out a lot. But going forward, it's something that Jerry will probably need to look at. It's just exactly what we're going to do, where we're going to do. There's, even with the state, there's different money that can only go to emergency medical services. There's money that can only go to fire. So there's a little bit of a reason to keep them separate, if that's the right word, but by the same token,
I think the idea of having one person to coordinate all that is where we're heading.
Correct. I think at some point, I mean, we don't need to be the lone ranger, okay? If you look around and what's the trend and what people do, you take Lynchburg, the larger areas, even the smaller counties, they already moved in that direction. I think at the end of the day, that's where we need to be. I'm not saying that
No, I know.
right now, at this point in time, that it gotta happen, but I think it's time that we, as a board,
Entertain
as a
that.
county, we need to, I think we need to start, engaging in some dialogue or discussion in that area. Not, it don't necessarily mean it gotta be now.
No, I know what you're saying.
But
I know exactly.
I think this is an opportunity.
I think if you start now, you'd be lucky to be ready for the FY '26 budget next year to look at.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
Won't
it's
be
a
ready then,
good
really.
opportunity.
David, who's kind of looking after things to y'all get somebody in?
David Wilmuth, who's the president, he also runs a lot of the calls and things also, which I'm sure the sheriff can attest to that, but, they're gonna, which they did years ago, they're gonna revert back a little bit to, team captains and things being more responsible, which is probably the way it needs to be. That was a,
Change of
every organization doesn't like it, but every organization has to have the hard talks, and that's what, that's what I had last Thursday night. Just, this is the way things have to go, Pete Cannon brought up a great point there, that volunteerism is way down, and we're getting a lot of college students in all of our things, and young people don't have the drive to work. Let's just be straight up honest about it. They don't have the drive to work like the majority of us grew up. So therefore, they want to do everything on the phone, kind of like we were talking about earlier, they want to punch in they want to clock in on the phone, they want to clock out on the phone, they want to do everything remote that they can or whatever else, and there's just certain things that you just have to be present
That's right.
to do, so they're gonna make some team captains be more responsible with it.
Chain of command.
Anyway, Mr. County Administrator, if you can kind of.
Now that you got your marching orders.
Motion to adjourn before Jerry comes up with
Hey, man, y'all
Okay,
were
we
great.
got recess.
Motion to recess.
I will have a motion to recess, second, until March 19th at 2 p.m.
19 to 9 p.m., 2 o'clock.
All right? All in favor, say aye. Aye.